the game against Germany where we lost the semi-final, I remember picking up my football and going out the front of my house and sitting on the pavement and just crying.
Welcome back to Lose to Win the podcast where we talk through the trials and tribulations of a man's weight loss journey program, a program that has brought us all together, especially us three. So good evening, gentlemen. I'm with Ben and Josh this evening. How are you doing, guys?
Good evening. I'm very well. And I'm very
Very
impressed with that introduction.
Yeah.
Where's that come from?
I spend my life, as you well know, in a car listening to podcasts, and we just jump straight in. And some others, this might be the first time that somebody's listening. It might be the first time that they're stumbling across our podcast. So just to give a little bit of background to what we talk about. So just
I love that, mate.
Yeah, it's all good.
Good.
Just to
Yeah,
add a little bit to that as well. Obviously, we do like to occasionally have guests on. The last couple of weeks have been pretty guest heavy. It is without a guest this evening, so the three of us are going to ramble on and talk to exactly that, back to basics. Talk about a few things, but the key message is it's an opportunity for people that we are in our community or in the wider community of Manview Fact to come on, talk about how their weight loss program is going. It's all, as we always say, it's a completely unique thing for all of us to go through. There'll be lots of things that are the same, but also lots of very different things within our lives, as we learnt last week with Jim and his orange chicken. So that being said, how are we both doing? How have your weeks been?
Josh, you go first.
Yeah, been good. I've compensated. Well, I would say this: my weekend's been terrible. I'm not going to lie, just slacked. No, but this is the thing. You see, I kind of planned for it in a bad way because I was like, I've been really good for about 6 or 7 weeks now.
Mm-hmm.
Like I have one thing on a Friday and that's it, and I've been losing weight consistently, so I've not had an issue.
You have
0.7 here, 0.4, 0.9, 1.3 this week, 1.3 the week before. So I kind of thought, and just like everyone, I guess there'll be a lot of people in the community right now who they know we're not weighing in this week because it's Good Friday, so coming, so we don't have a session, and I think people slack off slightly, and I found it was a good excuse just to let loose for a couple extra days than normal. I will just say that I am back on it and have been the last couple of days. It's more just an extended weekend, and because the Easter weekend isn't a big deal for me personally in terms of chocolate temptation. Yeah.
You haven't had your deliveries yet.
I figure I should front load the calories for the 2-week break. That makes sense. So I have no concern about it. So I've been good. I've been really good. I just know
a couple of extra. Well, that's fair, mate. And I think that's what we say, isn't it? It's good to treat yourself from time to time.
Absolutely. But, did you enjoy your egg, Josh, that I got you?
Yes, I did very much. In fact, actually, it sat on my desk. I didn't have it on the Friday. Actually, no, I had it on the. I didn't have it on the Friday. Okay. I was like, I think I must have had it on Sunday. So it was there for like a day. Nice. I kept looking at it and going,
did anyone else give you any eggs?
I brought him a little cream egg. I wasn't going to take the piss and get him a massive one.
So no one knows.
Probably through the roof anyway.
Yeah. Oh yeah, cream eggs are deadly. Yeah. Oh well, mate, it's
lovely.
Good.
Really enjoyed it.
Have a bit of a break and enjoy yourself, and then get back on the wagon. Fair play.
See, and I'm not going to weigh myself, so I'll see what the damage is. I will need an adjudication though, because as far as I'm aware, unless anything changes, I will be doing the weigh-ins and taking the week essentially because Steve is not available.
Okay.
On that Friday. So
are you all prepped and trained and everything?
Oh yeah, comfortable. I have no concerns with that. It's just more
so does that mean you can't play anyway because your foot's busted?
I can't. Yeah, well, it's convenient.
Well, I guess.
Yeah,
fair enough.
It is quite convenient. Also, it stops me from playing if I felt fine, That's the thing.
Yeah.
That's really what it does. But yeah, so unless anything changes, then I will probably be doing that. Come that week, and I will have to have someone adjudicate my weighing. Properly.
I trust you.
I don't.
You're not playing the purple, so I don't give a shit.
So we'll see. See, I'm looking to get back under. I'm actually looking to get to the lowest I would have been ever here.
That's amazing.
I was 113.1 last week, and my lowest is 112.5 since I've been here.
Okay, good work,
I've
mate.
got 2 weeks to get to that, so beyond. My 10%, I should say, was 112.9, but I've already hit it. So for worries for anyone who and gone back up the other way quite substantially, and then come back down.
Yeah.
So I was 119 at the start of this season. So
wow,
193.
crikey. Well, you're doing well then, buddy. That's fantastic.
Yes,
so over
really
6 kilos. That's
well,
nearly a
that's
nearly a stone, mate.
That was my week 1 weigh in 119.3, but that was 1.3 up from the start of season weight. So
right, so
technically less on the season, but
but you're still not far off a stone, dude. So that's pretty impressive, right? Well done,
I'm
mate.
thrilled with it, honestly. Really, really good. I'm going well, and now I've got my little Garmin watch thing that I've been using properly again. I think that's kept me in check a bit more as well.
Right, cool.
Tracking steps and calories and stuff like that.
Hops, isn't it?
Sorry?
It's hops, isn't it? You should be not too much walking on that.
Well, yeah, no. Walking is fine. Honestly, it feels fine. So I can walk normally. I can pretty much jog.
But you can't wait for it to be sorted. I swear, everybody, how's the toe? Don't kick the ball. We were just talking before we started recording. Ben witnessed you kick a ball, and I was like, "Oh, Josh has just kicked the ball." Yeah, so much spotlight on you.
Well, the funny thing is, I was silly with advertising how long I should have been out, because now everyone's keeping me to it.
I definitely got you out of my FPL team. Transferred you out, mate.
Should probably do a
value drop
fantasy FPL team. See if I can work out the points every week.
That'd be quite funny.
That would be a logistical nightmare.
Yes,
wouldn't it? Working all of that.
Trying to work that out.
Well, maybe.
Not necessarily logistical. Sorry, more administrative.
Yeah, I might give it a go not this next week, but the week after, just to see if it's going to be worth.
Good luck with that, mate.
Yeah, right.
I have seen a lot of especially Carl, who we had on a couple of weeks back. I think he does his little like weekly roundup, so he does about how much he's lost, but he also says on a whatever night they do what kilometers he covered, if he scored, if he got an assist or anything like that, which is quite cool.
Nice.
I know some other clubs delve into the football side of things as well as the weight loss side of things when they do their reporting. Yeah.
It's quite nice to see the way that different clubs do different things, actually.
It is, yeah. And having them on here certainly opens up my perspective. One thing that I know that we are looking to do, especially with them being right on our doorstep, hopefully when this bloody weather turns, we're going to get down to Poole and do like a live, record it live, pitchside live podcast at Poole's. Pool session on one night and try and catch up with some people that we know there, but also people that we don't know there. Speak to them for the first time, and
that'd be cool.
It'd be interesting to get a feel what it's like, really. And I know that everyone's going to be slightly different. The one that gets me when I see that on Facebook is like the small goals. I don't think I'd like to play with. They play with like.
But they still.
I thought
they changed. I thought they changed them since they moved grounds. I thought. I don't know.
Not at Poole. They don't, but other ones I've seen across the country. There's some really small goals that I mean, even I could do pretty well in. I'm saying that I did get a clean sheet on Friday night with all the stick that everybody's been waiting for me to have my turn in goal, and I was quite happy with my clean sheet.
You were in goal?
Yeah, you missed
it. I missed this.
I got a clean sheet, mate. Nobody talks about Taunton anymore. What? They talk about that game against Whites.
Holy moly.
Yeah, two good saves as well, like solid good saves.
I don't believe it. I cannot believe I missed this. I have to put that down to your defence, right? Purples have got an excellent defence, so I'd have to put it down to that.
Well, I still had to use my hands, so something wasn't quite right. And Whites were gunning for me the moment they realised I donned the gloves at the second half. They were
fair play, mate.
Shoot on sight policy.
Yeah, I think we probably would have gone with that as well.
That,
yeah, definitely. How's your week been anyway, mate, Jack? How have you been getting on?
Yeah, okay, yeah. Obviously, after last week, having a bit of home truths just for myself around how I behaved in terms of my eating habits over the weekend. I definitely had a much better weekend than previous ones. Cool. That being said, I still had a little treat, and but I kept it manageable and sensible, and also exercised with the nicer weather, again, touch wood, on its way, and the occasional kind of tease of spring.
Yeah.
The exercise just becomes more easy to do, natural to do, longer dog walks rather than just taking them out around the block because you have to. It's because it's cold and wet. You're actually going on longer dog walks. So we did things like that. So yeah, that was better. And this week, admittedly, the last couple of days have been a bit of a challenge, been away with work. And we had our kind of quarterly sales meeting, which essentially means the night before we go out for beers and a curry with the boss. But again, I was super sensible with that. I had a couple of ciders, and then I moved on to the softies, and didn't overeat. Was just kind of sensible with it all. So it makes a big difference, and I'm super conscious of it. And normally, as Josh has kind of referenced, normally I would certainly treat a week off as a week off, and I'm really desperate to not do that. I'm not going to weigh myself because I found myself getting into a bit of an obsessive behavior with doing that. I will I think the only time I'll probably generally do it on a Monday to see how bad the weekend's been, and I will do it Monday coming. This weekend, as I referenced last week, this weekend's going to be a bit tricky with brother's 30th birthday, my birthday, and Easter and everything, but nobody's going to be buying me an egg, so I've got no reason to do that. I think my wife might be making me a cheesecake for my birthday. It's one of my little favourite treats. And
that's fine, dude. Just don't eat the whole thing.
Yeah, that's the problem, Ben. As I said last week, it's I don't do things by half, but I will be sensible, and I will take it with me on Easter Sunday, so everybody in the family can enjoy it as well, rather than just me. So yeah, I've just got to be sensible. I know what's happening, I know what's going on, and I know how I can control it, and I'm just going to be super sensible and like a monk up until and then after as well. And hopefully fair. Josh will see a reduction in my numbers when I arrive next Friday.
Yeah, good.
Indeed.
Good.
That's
I'm
the plan,
hoping
anyway.
to do that as well.
What about you, Ben?
I've had quite a good week. I think, pretty good. I weighed myself this morning, and I'm only 0.5 up on what I was last week, so that's always good on a Wednesday. That's a good place to be, because I know that if I were weighing on Friday, that would easily be under. So I'm trying to keep going. I've got a bit of an issue coming this weekend because we're going away for the weekend with the in-laws. We're going away for a few days with the kids over Easter, and it's my in-laws' wedding anniversary and my father-in-law's birthday on the 1st of April.
So you're missing the return of Man v Fat Golf.
Yes, I am. Sadly,
you'll be sorely missed.
I will. I've got to hand a wooden spoon over to somebody though, so that's a bonus. At least I get that monkey off my back. Throw that away. But I'm just gonna. I'll have a couple of drinks. And I'll have a bit of food this weekend, but I'm not going to go bananas. And I've had a really good week this week, so I shall back that up with a good week next week. And fingers crossed, come next weigh-in, I'll be down again. So no, I'm quite pleased with the way I'm going. I'm down 3 kilos since the start of the season.
That's incredible, mate.
So yeah, I'm feeling good, feeling a bit more focused. So enjoying this last season of this rotation. I can't believe we're nearly halfway through already, by the way. I mean, I don't know where the time goes. It's complete madness. But it's all good.
We still got so much to sort out for the end of season stuff. It always every week goes by. I'm like, oh my god, that's a week closer. But,
it's creeping up. It's definitely creeping up. On that note, we need to get people booked in.
Yes, absolutely.
If anyone listening from our club, get yourself booked in, get your ticket sorted, because if you don't, it won't be happening. We've got some fantastic prizes, by the way.
Absolute stellar prizes for the raffle as well. I want to make as much money as we can for that.
Yeah.
I was thinking about earlier, kind of spitballing kind of thoughts out loud. I think what we'll do is £1 a ticket. If you're buying 10, we'll give you 12. really to encourage people to get those crisp £10 notes out of their pocket and into a cherry pot.
Yeah.
So £10 will get you 12 tickets, or you can have one for £1. So you can really maximise with it if you get your crisp tenner out. We'll take change, we'll take anything, and it's all obviously going to go to a super good cause. And there's lots more prizes I think we have up our sleeve that we're going to be adding right up until the night. So
it'll be a really good night. I think it'll be a really good night, and I think it'll be a chance for everyone to come in and celebrate what we've done, not just this season, but over the last 3 seasons, but also over the last 9 seasons. You know, there's people that have been there from the beginning. There's people that have just joined this season. So it'll be a great opportunity for Steve to do his thing as well with the Man v Fat Awards. You know, we'll throw our 2 penneth in with our slightly stupid lose to win awards, but a bit of banter and bit of music, bit of food. It'll be
Bring
great.
your partners as well, all welcome.
Yeah.
The infamous Mrs. H will be there, and she'll be cutting shapes and knocking back shots, I'm sure. So
Mrs. G is going to be there as well.
Oh God, it's all going to be. It might be a bad idea getting them all together.
It might be a bad idea. No, it'd be great. It'd be great.
Thoroughly looking forward to it. So
me too.
Please get yourselves involved. Anyway, Josh, shall we dive into the most recent roundup and
sure,
discuss how that's gone?
I mean, it was a week. It was kind of mired with controversy, or well, not really. I'm egging it up as Steve does in his report. Although it was soon resolved with our customary good grace and humour anyway. So we saw another glut of on-pitch goals, off-pitch losses, and a long-awaited avalanche of last man standing bonuses. So the biggest stat, though, is that the league as a whole lost another 24.5 kilos.
Wow.
Moving us on to 147.8 kilos, or 3¼ kilos for the season so far. So that's pretty good going, I would say.
Are we halfway? Are we halfway? We're not, are we? That was 6 weeks.
That was week 6.
Right, so
we're not even there.
We could hit the 300 mark, because next week will be halfway.
We could indeed hit the 300 mark.
That would be a bit bonkers.
Yeah. I mean, we were talking about hitting 200 mark.
Yeah.
Weren't we?
Yeah.
As well, I mean, the 300 would be insane.
Incredible.
Anyway, the scores then. So your Blues, Ben, beat us Blacks 18-5. I think that was quite a big pitch score, wasn't it, in the end?
6-1.
I remember as well. Yeah.
6-1.
And then it was 8-1 actually, because we had a ringer. I knew there was always reason for that.
It didn't do justice to the game, though, I might add. It was a really close game. No, much closer than that score suggests.
Yes, I mean, I would say that as a member of the Blacks team, but I did genuinely believe that at the time from the sidelines.
Yeah, no, it was a pretty well fought game. Yeah. I think that flatters us slightly, that score.
The Yellows lost 10-9 to the Reds. The Orange and Purples game Orange and Purples, that was last week, sorry, my bad, misreading it. Oranges lost 17-19 to the Greens. And the Whites lost 19-9 to the Purples. So that means your Purples, Jack, by the way, maintain your 100% record in the main league, with Greens still breathing down your necks. So Purples are also, by the way, you're joint top of the other 2 leagues as well, aren't you? With Blues on the Pitch League and Greens on the Scales League.
Yeah.
I'm very impressed with Greens.
Going toe-to-toe with them.
Yeah, I know Purples are smashing it on kind of all levels at the moment, but I'm really impressed with the fact that Greens are managing to kind of keep in there off the back of last season, because I know how difficult it is once you come off the back of a winning season to keep going is tough. So the fact that they're hanging on in there is great testament to them.
Definitely, yeah. They are serious mentality monsters, I keep saying.
Yeah, they really are.
Even without the sorely missed Tim egging them on and keeping them going, I believe he might still be present in their group chat as a secret agent, kind of
can't get rid of him,
continuing to support and do his best at supporting them as much as he can. But they are
bless him,
a force to reckon with.
Yeah, definitely.
Definitely. And well, that game, by the way, with Oranges will be the match will be forever remembered as Refgate, with our standing official passing on the wrong scoreline at the end of the evening.
He passed like else on,
he didn't cover himself in
during another
glory,
game.
did he?
Yeah,
let's face it.
Yeah, right. Grateful thanks to the Oranges though, who were quick to notify us of the mistake, even though it was in their favour, and they knew that putting it right would definitely cost them points. So,
what was the score before the alteration? Then it was a draw, wasn't it?
The overall score was a draw.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, you very rarely see that as well, wouldn't it? That made a big difference. Certainly made a big difference. So yeah, fair play to them.
Yeah. Your Blues and Purples enjoyed big wins, as we mentioned. So although the Whites pushed Purples a lot closer on the pitch than the final score suggests, I would say. You've had a habit of beating teams quite comfortably this season, Jack, haven't you? And the Whites gave you a really good game. So
yeah, it was 2-0 before their. Oh, maybe it was 4-0, but it was actually only 2-0 because of the ringer situation. So they certainly picked up a very good ringer to have in Dave, although he had just finished playing for the Greens as well. So that did make a difference. But he is we know what Dave is. He's an annoying little fly when you're playing against him. He's just everywhere and so good.
I'm sure he'll take that as a compliment.
I must admit, I turned my nose up when Steve mentioned about it not being as not telling the full story, and I did again. I found myself doing it again when you were in it. Then I think I personally hit every bit of the fucking goal. I hit both post and crossbar before my second half stellar performance in goal, and I think we probably could have scored more, but credit where credit's due. AD was fucking brilliant in goal again.
I love that.
Yeah.
Well done, AD.
He is like, I don't know what it is about. I love AD to bits. I don't know what it is about him when he's in goal. He just turns into a monster, doesn't he? Like, he just gets
committed. He's committed.
Yeah, just gets himself into that space, doesn't he? He knows what he needs to do. So fair play to and I've always had a soft spot for the Whites and always will, and they certainly played well, especially without some key members of the team. Matt, for instance, is always a big miss when he doesn't play for them too. So yeah, it's all good.
Well, in another game, Yellows would have beaten the Reds, by the way, but for the last man standing, where a 2-goal swing between the teams was decisive. So Yellows arguably deserve more, with 3 players in Team of the Week and the best weekly team weight loss of 7.4 kilos in the league this week. So 31 players in that last man became 25, and with 9 still clinging on to their precious grace weeks. There's no way in this week, as we mentioned, Good Friday. So how many of these can survive the onslaught of Easter eggs remains to be seen. Well, I won't have any Easter eggs to survive, so that should be a tick in the column for me, hopefully.
20 is the next gate for more goals, isn't it? So if it drops below 20,
there's a good chance they'll drop again after.
Could do it,
because Grace weeks will go. There's every possibility it'll drop another 5 next.
It'd either be next or the week after, wouldn't it? For sure.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And they are such a kicker. Those goals, such a kicker.
Yeah. A great incentive as well.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And it's been it works wonders for our clubmen and people like that, hasn't it? So in that recently, and Demi in particular.
Yeah.
So it's been I love it, to be honest. And I'm always there halfway through a season at least, but never quite make it. So this is the season.
Good man.
We shall see.
Go on, lad.
Anyway, so the summary just quickly on that last man standing. So Greens and Purples each have 5 players remaining. Oranges 4, Blues and Reds have got 3, and Blacks and Whites have got 2, and Yellows have got 1. As we mentioned, the next block of goals will come when it drops to 20 players. So let's hope it's not this week coming. So no milestones, by the way, I should say, after last week's kind of
none at all.
A crop of milestones. No milestones this week.
That's interesting.
Quite a rarity, isn't it?
But 20 hat-tricks. It's worth pointing out that the 20 includes 12 players earning their second triple of the season.
Nice.
That's 10 who have lost weight in all 6 weeks so far, plus two BMI bosses who have remained in maintenance.
Yeah, that's great.
Without fail. So fantastic effort to those 12 in particular.
So we're a couple of weeks away from, if those 100%ers continue that, from them getting extra goals as well, aren't we? Am I know
week 8.
I'm treading familiar ground where I end up asking the same questions, but my memory's like a sieve. So it is week 8. If they manage to get to week 8 as 100%, they'll be
extra goal
earning again.
Yeah.
And then if they make it to week 9 with still doing that, they'll get another hat trick.
Goals galore.
and by then I would suspect they'll be in the last 20. So one of those weeks, if it's week 7, or week 7 could be 20, week 8 could be extra bonus, week 9 could be hat tricks. So it's,
wow,
goals every week, it seems, and that's what it's there for.
Yeah, fair play.
Yeah. Connor, by the way, of the Blacks leads team of the week with a hefty 2.6 kilo loss.
Good lad.
And Stuart Mitchner is the only player to retain his place at the top table from last week.
I don't think Stuart's got anything left of him. He's lost. Hasn't he been in since joining? He's been in team of the week at least 3 of the weeks, I think.
He must be in maintenance by now, isn't he?
Flying.
Quite close, I would think. Not 100%. I'll have to ask him. It's good to see Taylor Melville, by the way, in the team.
Yeah,
after his only 2nd week of the club. So well done, Taylor,
well
for a great
done.
start, and well done to all of this week's biggest losers. So apparently, and this is the part where I have to be self-deprecating, there's a line in here of credit to myself for making team despite being out of action. But
no, it's good. Absolutely.
VAR has I forgot about this. VAR has retrospectively awarded a red card for violent conduct to the radiator to the ground. Do that, Steve. Anyway, so Connor leads team of the week with 2.6. Mike Morris of the Yellows with 2.4. Stuart Mitchell of the Reds 2.3. Taylor Melville of the Oranges with 2.2. Liam made team of the week with 2.2 of the Yellows. Dimmy of the Yellows with 1.8. Continues.
Dimmy's there again.
Ian of the Purples 1.3, and then myself at the bottom there with 1.3 as well.
Ian smashed it as well.
Very good.
Yeah, fair play, Josh.
Brilliant work.
Brilliant work. That's kind of it, really. It's kind of enjoying Easter, enjoying time with the family in moderation.
And that's
not the family
key.
The Easter eggs part. But don't let those kind of good times disrupt the progress. I guess that's the overall aim, isn't it? So should always be room in your life for treats and enjoyment, but sometimes you need other good choices to make room for them. So let's make week 7 one of the best in striding forward into new territory, rather than undoing the damage of a week off. So
well said. There was an interesting comment earlier on the chat, actually, from Craig, talking about how the teams are going via talking about motivation over the Easter period and stuff, and I think that I think it's good to have a bit of a break, and certainly we talked about it over the Christmas period about how we in the chats and stuff. And while it's good to stay motivated, it's also good to take a bit of a break, because it can get quite dominating. Some people like it that way, but some people need to have a bit of a break. So I don't think there's any harm in taking your foot off the pedal a little bit for a couple of days and just relaxing, having a bit of time off, and then come back to it. That's certainly the way we're looking at it anyway. And but if Easter's Easter, so if you want to have a hot cross bun or an Easter egg, have one. Don't have 10. and that's kind of the key. Enjoy yourself, enjoy the time off, but not to the point where it's going to derail your progress, I think, is the key.
I mean, what you were saying, our chat's quite active. Our team is but I mean, our chat's now kind of got to a stage where from today really, or tomorrow onwards, it's kind of like everyone's kind of go radio silent, just kind of like that we're just going to enjoy our Easters and refresh and come back, and we'll see how we're doing next Tuesday, next Monday, etc. kind of thing. Check in after the weekend. It'll be a bit quieter, but that's good for people to be able to switch off a little bit, isn't it?
I think so.
I'll be quite happy if the main chat stays perfectly quiet during Sunday and the huge game in the Premier League that will make or break my birthday help that. On Sunday.
You know when they're playing, you're always popping them messages in the chat.
Yeah,
it won't stay quiet. It's a big game.
Super nervous already, but that's a subject for later.
Well, you definitely know why it won't stay quiet anyway, mate, because it's your birthday, so people are going to be wishing you all, giving the best wishes out.
There you go.
That's very sweet. I'll keep an eye on it for that, and then I think it'll be muted regardless for the football. It's just, it all depends. It's all in the balance, because we're going to my mum's for Sunday roast, and when my mum says dinner's at 12, it ends up being about 3. So she could be in hot water with me if I'm still, especially around Jordan while the game's going on is an actual nightmare. We avoid each other when there's big games for each of our teams because we can be absolute arseholes to each other, and there's nothing that rattles us up much more than that, really. So I want to be home with my lad, watching it on my birthday, and just take it as it comes. It is what it is, but I don't want to be around other people because I can snap quite quickly with that situation, and that's not what I want.
No, I find that so hard to believe, Jack.
Don't you start. It cracked me up. Geary said the other week when I think Luke was having a whinge, he turned around and said, "Are you the calmest one out of the three of you?" To me, Jordan perked up like, "Are you joking?" And I'm like, "Well, there you go, Jordan, proving the point." And I keep having to tell people. I said to Luke as well. I said the way I think people are getting him now. But to start with, I think he might have rubbed a few people up the wrong way. And I keep telling him I was like that when my first couple of weeks I was like that, and then you get what it's about.
Yeah.
And he's certainly brought into it. I was looking at the top scorers earlier, and with him being only a couple of kg away from a milestone, I think he's got a chance of potentially doing it.
Yeah, cool.
And the week coming, he can push himself back into contention for top scorer, and he loves that sort of shit. Anything, like I said, he's Mr. 100%. So if there's a chance of a competition, and he can control the outcome, which clearly he can by being sensible and doing the right things, he'll go hell for leather for it. So yeah,
yeah. I mean, he is third, as you said, on that, Chris.
Yeah.
So, by the way, another purple at top, Chris Cowan, with joint first with
Chris
with
smashing it.
Yeah.
Chris kills us because it gets like a Friday afternoon. He's like, "Oh, I'm not sure I've done it," and then he rocks up with like a 1.2, 1.3 kg weight loss. That happens every week. He has like a moment of like doubt, and then he still rocks up and smashes it. So
that's what George used to be like for us. He was exactly the same.
Yeah.
It's like, oh lads, no, I've had a mare, I'm 2 kilos up, blah blah blah, and then he'd rock up. No, actually 2 kilos down, 2 kilos down.
I think he needs to take his scales back to the fucking
He most
shop.
definitely does. Yeah, most definitely does.
Yeah, and this is it. You can become obsessive and stand on those scales and fret about it. And as I said last week, that last couple of hours leading up to it, or the last day, if you've not done the right things up until that day is either it shouldn't be making or breaking your week.
No.
It shouldn't be down to that last day. It should be what you've done for the whole week. And I've certainly over time fallen foul of that. And yeah, it's not a healthy place to be when you're starving yourself on a Friday, and especially when you've got a 10 o'clock kickoff and you're weighing in at 9:30. You're in pretty bad place. So yeah.
Well, I'm way down that list, by the way. I don't know where you guys, if you know where you are on the list.
Oh, I'm way down.
Yeah,
I'm looking to climb. So I'm 20.
The only thing I'm contributing at the moment is hat tricks. My next percentage is still quite a way off because I lost quite a bit and then put it back on again, which pushes your way off it. I'm about halfway actually. Just found myself halfway down the list, so I'm not overly disappointed with that, and I do plan on hitting that next milestone this season, so that would bounce me up. So yeah, we'll see.
Well, we're both on 3.5 goals scored, aren't we? Me, you, and Jack. So
are we all the same?
We are. Yeah.
We have to try and see who can get the most by the end of the season. Each other. Yeah. Bearing in mind, I'm in the same position to you with the milestone.
Ben's on 3 actually, so it's very close. Yeah, Ben's 3. You and I 3.5 goals contributed.
Nice.
And Ben's lost 2.69% this season. I'm 1.45, and Josh, you are 4.15. Wow.
Very good. Yeah. So you're winning the percentage race.
Yes. Yeah. All to play for.
I'm hoping to be at the end of the season. I don't have a specific number in mind, but it would be quite cool if I kind of was within over 10 kilos of the season. You know, you're in that kind of double digits. Hole for the season lost, because I mean last season, I can't remember. Was it Rav who lost like 14 or 15 kilos or something?
Yeah, madness.
Last season,
crazy.
And he was obviously top 2 or 3 who had also lost, you know, between over 12 kilos or something. So if I'm in that kind of range, I'll know I've had a top 5 season probably. Well, it depends. Everyone's smashing it so far, so I might not even with that.
It's difficult. There's a lot of competition here. Rav made me laugh. I said to him the other day, he just rocked up with another surprise percentage, and he went, "I can't hit any more this season." I was like, "What?
No, he can't,
it's only week 6." He's already hit 2 milestones already, so he can't actually score another one.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. So whoever gets Rav next season, happy days. He'll probably have a percentage for you on the first game of the season. So.
Yeah, I was going to say it's because he had a percentage on the first game this season.
Yeah, the roll over.
Through.
Yeah.
In terms of the percentage losers, Chris does sit at the top with 7.73. No, sorry, he doesn't sit at the top. Stuart's at the top with 7.87. So yeah, I thought I was right with how much he's lost.
Mm-hmm.
So he's contributed 6 goals, but lost 7.87 of his. Actual start weight, really, isn't it? Because he joined the season, so that's his absolute start weight.
He's one of the few people I can see in the list whose percentage is higher than the number of goals scored for the.
Yeah, there's not many, is there?
No. No, amazing. Anyway,
no, because it's calculated on whether you lose weight on a weekly basis. There are ways of winning top scorer by just turning up, and you can lose 100 grams, so technically you could lose 1.4 kilos over an entire season and still win top scorer just by being consistent.
Do the last man standing goals contribute to that weight score?
No,
they're miscellaneous, aren't they?
Yeah, last man standing is Steve's incentive.
Standalone.
It's a standalone. Yeah.
Cool. Okay. Well, there we go. It's Chris and Rav contributing 11 goals. Luke, Ollie, Ryan, Dave contributing 8, and then Jordan, Tim, Ian, Tom, Dimmy, and Tom and
usual
Sam
suspects,
contributing 6.5
with a few extras. Yeah. Well done, lads.
Absolutely.
Well, Ollie ran his first 10K. I've got to give him a shout out. He ran a competitive race at the weekend, and he went 56 minutes. 10K.
Oh my God.
Yeah, amazing, isn't it? And he's lost like 7 stone.
Impressive.
Does he like running?
He does, weirdly. Thing. I don't know why.
No,
I have never enjoyed running ever.
Be flipping mental. Lisa's dad's done 60 marathons. Is it 60? 50 marathons. Right. 50 marathons. And I just don't get it. Like,
I'm not a runner. I've never been a runner.
Pounding the pavement. Like I struggle with. I need the competitiveness, and I need the put football in front of me. I'll run, but just running on the spot.
Well, occasionally.
Jog is just not interested. Don't you fucking start.
You run up the pitch, won't necessarily run back again.
Oh yeah, I can't contribute coming back. That's the problem. It's all about game management.
I know, mate.
No, don't be sorry. It's
I'm just
the truth.
pulling your leg.
It's when Steve chirps up on a Tuesday, and he doesn't leave the other fucking penalty box, and he's giving me shit. I'm like, hang on a minute.
He just likes to chat with the goalkeeper, Steve.
He does, yeah. We do have a little back and forth about that. It's always a good laugh. He's more interested in pinching and pulling goalkeepers than anything else. He is
a bit handsy. I worry about him sometimes.
Super handsy.
He likes a cuddle.
Say, yeah. Absolutely. Anyway, we digress slightly.
Yeah, sorry about that.
What else is on the agenda, Josh?
Well, that was it for the roundup. And unless there's something specific you guys want to talk about, Man v Fatty and etc.
No, I think we've covered a lot of it, haven't we? We covered the awards. We've covered how our weeks have been, all of that sort of thing. Yeah, and happy with that.
In that case, we're kind of moving on to some football topics. So obviously international break. So internationals have been on, and I guess that means we have another part where we talk about England.
Good, my favourite subject.
International break. I know for Ben, it's
yeah.
You love it, don't you, Ben?
I do. Yeah, I do. Big,
especially when we come to the end of the season, like Premier League season, I'll be full on Euro fever. I'm absolutely certain.
Listen, I come from the generation that followed England through sort of my first. Although I do remember Mexico '86. And I actually remember Spain 82 vaguely, but I was only 7 then. So Mexico was kind of the first big one for me. But Italia 90 was the biggest tournament for me. I've really.
How old were you then, Ben?
15, Italia 90.
I was
just
born
turned
in
15.
If that doesn't
make you feel well. You're about to say 50 odd, and I was like, what?
15. But I have this really vivid memory of the game against Germany, where we lost the semi-final. And I remember picking up my football and going out outside the front of my house and sitting on the pavement with my football and just crying.
Oh.
Because Italia 90 was the fever and the sort of fervour in the whole of the country around that tournament was kind of, it was like a different level. It's like it was the first time, I think, since 66 that World Cup fever had really taken over the country. So it was massive, and I just got real like really solid, vivid memories of it. And then obviously going on from that, we didn't make the World Cup in 94, but then, you know, Euro 96 happened, and it kind of happened all over again. But then at that point I was 21, so I was in my prime pub going time then. So watching all the games in the pub and everyone in their shirts with flags and face painted, it was just nuts. The whole thing is, you know, the sort of start of Three Lions was released, and it was just bonkers. And Vindaloo, all them sort of songs. Well, I don't think Vindaloo was in 96, but you know what I mean. Those, all that kind of national pride around the football team kind of was at its real peak. And the sort of the golden era, or the golden era of the England team that never actually achieved anything, but there was so much hope. I think we were just driven by hope every year, and then so that's why I'm so passionate about the England team, because I grew up through that time, and got great memories of it. Went to Germany in 2006, so yes, that's why I like talking about England.
I mean,
what year was Japan?
2002.
That's I remember that. I obviously remember games before that. Yes, exactly. Yeah, I remember tournaments previous to that, but that's one that stuck out to me. I remember staying around a mate's house because it was really early games, wasn't it? Like 7 o'clock in the morning games, maybe. Yeah. I remember, I think the Brazil game was a Saturday morning or something like that. I was stayed around a mate's house, and we were up early watching it, and I just remember that really, really, really well. But do you feel like the last Euros probably competed with those kind of fever pitch moments, especially with it being a lot of the games were at Wembley anyway? I think we were quite lucky with that, as not necessarily us being able to see them, but as a nation and as a team, lucky to be able to play the games at home, especially in a stadium as good as Wembley and as iconic as Wembley.
I think the last Euros, definitely. I think that's the first time for a while that fever has kind of taken over the nation again, and people have genuinely believed that we could actually do something. Basically because of the players and the way that they play as a team. And people are starting to believe again, because it's that belief that it's kind of
still believe.
It totally is. It's like, because you kind of go, I don't want to put the mockers on it. I don't want to think that we'll win something when we generally won't. But I think people genuinely believe that we could actually potentially win something again. And I know we bottled it, and I know the last 3 tournaments we've done so well and got so close. But I think people are starting to expect now, and I think this tournament coming up is going to be a make or break. I think people genuinely expect us to do well.
I remember genuinely considered going to Wembley for the final of the Euros just to be there.
Yeah.
Thank God it didn't, because it was utter carnage, wasn't it? Do you know Netflix are doing a like a documentary on I think they call it. The actual term for it is jibing, where you basically jump the barrier with somebody, so they scan the ticket and you both push your way through.
Right.
And they've got a whole load of like CCTV footage and kind of first-hand experiences from fans that did it, or were in the stadium and saw it happening, or security guards and stuff. I don't think it's a particularly great idea for the FA to have given Netflix this kind of complete access to it all, because it's always considered the English fan disease, and it's always us that's the problem. And I think I question that when you see the shit going on in Turkey and all these other places where you got fans invading the pitch and fighting players and whatever. I don't think it will ever get that bad here, or I pray to God it doesn't.
I'll tell you from a first-hand point of view, there are some England fans who are genuinely terrifying.
Yeah, I bet they are.
And I wouldn't.
A lot of them have had their passports taken off of them. I heard on the radio today.
Yeah, there is a contingent. the England supporter. I mean, don't get me wrong, the majority are absolutely fine, like genuine football supporters, but there are a contingent that are terrifying who go with obviously football, pretending that football is the thing and it's there, but they just go to get smashed up and get in fights. That's basically what they do.
But we're absolutely not the only nation that do that.
Oh no,
we?
God, no. Oh no.
You have ultras effectively what they call themselves everywhere. And I remember, was it the Russia World Cup? There was a lot of problems. There was like gangs of Russian men just literally hiding around corners for a group of English blokes to walk into and just have it out with them. And they're all like trained bare knuckle boxers and stuff. And the English were all just lager louts that were noisy and probably a lot more mouth than trousers in a lot of cases. And it's sad. It's sad that's the extent that people go to enjoy it. And I'm really intrigued to watch this documentary. I will share a link in the chat when I see it come onto Netflix, but I don't think it's going to paint us in a great light. And I don't know, again, I don't know why the FA would have done it, because it doesn't paint them in a great light either. This may be why we don't get many World Cups or Euros here, because of the perception, unfortunately, is actually
I think it's got better.
Than what it is.
Well, it's got better, and certainly England is seen as one of the more equipped countries to do it because of our infrastructure and the quality of the grounds as well.
Connections to each, as you say, infrastructure to it.
Yeah. So we've been quite lucky actually the last few years, but we'll see. So come on, Joshy, go on.
Based on the last couple of friendlies, what are your thoughts, Josh?
There's work to do, but it's friendlies after all. I'm not really too concerned right now. I think the two warm-up games before the tournament will be a bit more telling. Plus, I think you could tell, in particular in the second game, it's a friendly, wasn't it? It was clearly a friendly. It was played at a friendly pace. It was very very casual. Very casual. And I think that part of that was the case with the Brazil game as well. I'm not worried. Nothing's.
I'm not sure how friendly Brazil were with Jude, though. I think he took far too many kicks. I'm sure. But sadly, he's going to get that for the rest of his life.
He's going that. Unfortunately, that's him. Now that's him. He'll be kicked. He'll be marked. He'll be dealt with.
Have you noticed? It looks like he's wearing like almost like Under Armour underneath him, and I know he's got problems with his shoulders. I think he's got like some crazy strapping on his shoulder.
Yeah.
But it's almost like he's wearing a. Like the NFL players have got like the vest underneath their shirts. Not to that extent, but you can clearly see like either that or he's turned into an unbelievably broad, strong, strapping young man since the last time I'd actually properly watched him. But there's something not quite right there. Hopefully it's something that he plans on getting sorted when he gets the break too. But I thought he was brilliant. Like he took a lot of kicking and he just gets up and carries on. And I
was quite surprised about how reliant England suddenly became on him.
Yes.
To make things happen. And then in the second game against Belgium, when we had Mainu who actually did some more of that as well.
Yeah.
It felt like a little bit less of that was asked of him. But one thing I will just say is that I thought. And again, it could just be because it's a friendly. It could just be, all sorts of things. But they play a lot like Man City, quite ponderous and slow, and passing it around and shuffling defence across and just
suffocate teams.
And just taking your time. I mean, 75% possession.
Yeah, which is no mean feat against the Belgians. They're a good side.
Yeah, exactly. It's just kind of like,
I think with
it's a good thing as well, but
I think with how poor the defence is. Or has been for the last couple of games. Granted, when you've got everybody available that we hope to be available, it will make a big difference. But I think they needed that. The strength clearly was going forward rather than defending, and keeping the ball necessarily wasn't the answer. I know it sounds mental, but if you played a little bit more gun ho and you looked for getting the ball forward quicker. If they all feel that they have to do it or they've been told to do it, play through Jude. If you have to do it that way, then do it. But do things quicker. Do it on the turn. That sort of thing. Then I think that will work.
That'll be resolved slightly with the intensity of a tournament.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
think the difference between a friendly and a tournament, I think you will see that more. I still think, though, you'll still have the same issues that you've seen previously with teams, in that it will be still a little bit slower than you hope it to be.
It's international football at times,
sometimes.
though, isn't it?
Yeah, which is what I think suits England when you've got some of the defensive frailty we have in terms of pace, in particular recovery pace, with people like Maguire and Stones. And I don't know, look, it's friendlies, isn't it, after all? But it's still one of these things where, because you can tell,
I thought Concert did well. Concert coming on, and I thought he did well. Yep.
Yeah.
And I thought Gomez did all right as well. Chilwell was ropey against Brazil, but he hasn't really played that much. And we know that he is quick, and we know that he's quality. So he actually did have a much better game against the Belgians.
That much better against Belgium, to be fair.
Yeah. So for him, it will be good just for him to have minutes in an England shirt again.
But they'll get him, I think, because from what I can tell, Luke Shaw might not be fit in time.
That was a shame.
And that, I was about to say, I know I'm biased because of my Man United affiliation, but honestly, every single time I see him in either Man United or the England team, he
always turns up, doesn't he?
Yeah, he is. He changes.
What's
the
happening
team.
with Reece James?
Wow, he's just permanently injured.
Can't stay fit.
No,
he's still not
such
fit.
a shame.
You got a feel for him, haven't you?
Yeah, because he is. Honestly, he is world class.
He's one of these players that I would worry that if he has another setback, he won't play football again. It could be it. End of career kind of thing.
His sister is unbelievable as well.
Yeah,
those two siblings of football. I don't watch a lot of women's football, but what I've seen of her, especially during the women's Euros, she's head and shoulders above any player on the pitch.
Yeah.
And without being derogatory in any way, she would not look out of place on the men's game. How quickly she moves the ball, how quickly everything happens, the intensity she plays at. She just is on a different level to anybody else I've seen her play. So and he is, like you say, he is. I think when he's playing and he's fit, he's up there as a world class player. He just will not. I hope something can change, but as we've seen with some really promising young talent over the time, especially English young talent, is that sometimes this is a path well trodden of players that struggle with continuous injuries, muscular, whatever it may be. It all ends the same way, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Who else stood out for you? You mentioned Kobe Manu. I thought he was brilliant last night. I really was impressed with him.
Well, that's the thing. I was very impressed with him. I was worried that he might kind of shrink slightly under it, but I mean, you could tell clearly he's the kind of guy. Almost every time he's on the ball, he's looking for that forward pass, and he played a lot of those passes in between two or three.
Fantastic.
Bellingham's feet.
Exactly what I wanted to see. Yeah.
People like Bellingham and Foden who can just touch it,
just latch onto it.
Yeah.
Sadly, I think I think he's on the plane. I think last night as a chance.
I do.
I was
guys. A place.
Are there any players you think now are going to be on the plane that you may have?
I think Manu has played himself in just on those two performances.
Tony and Manu, I think.
Tony as well,
because he. I don't know if I've had this conversation with you guys on here or not. He is like for like with Kane. He plays very similar. They're both able to come back into midfield and become the link up where Watkins is on the shoulder, isn't he? That's what Watkins is. That's how he's scored as many goals as he has and how well he's done.
I'll feel for Watkins if he doesn't go, because he's had a fantastic season.
Yeah. He should be,
and it will be tough if he doesn't. But at the end of the day, there's only so many places you can give away, and I reckon they'll only take two strikers because you've got so many attacking midfielders. I think that he'll only take two attacking.
So many players fit into that false 10 as well. False 9, sorry.
Yeah, if he's going to take two, I think his selection for the first game was telling. I think he would take Watkins over Tony, but I have to admit,
do you think?
Yeah, because I think his selection for the first game was pretty telling of who he's keen on.
Yeah.
I think people like Mainu did enough because of that position and who we lack to get in, for example.
Yeah.
And I was a bit worried about the fact that we didn't see Cole Palmer. We didn't
see. Yeah, that
like,
was odd.
We saw Anthony Gordon before Cole Palmer, for example. We saw Gomez, Concert, and who else was I thinking?
Yeah, but as good as
and people like that. I just think those selections are telling. Like Rashford didn't play a minute. Like
that's interesting.
He
didn't he?
No,
he came on against Brazil.
He came on at the end against Brazil.
Oh, apologies. Yes, he did. Sorry. Yes, I think he's going anyway because I think
this is it, because he knows him and he's part of that setup.
I think he takes him because he won't take 3 strikers.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
Yeah, I think, and he's always done that. Is that he's got people? Okay, well, if we were really, really stuck, who can play number 9? Oh, a Rashford can. It's like we'll take him. So I think Maddison is nailed. I don't think.
I don't think Grealish has played enough this season.
He needs a big finish to the season, doesn't he? Really,
he's one of those players that can change a game. He can totally change a game, but he's also a confidence player, and if he's playing, he's doing his job. But he's not really been playing for City, and he's been injured for most of this season. So it would be a punt, I think, to take him.
That's like Calvin Phillips, isn't it?
Calvin Phillips ain't going the way that Mainu played last night.
Well, exactly. That's what I'm saying. He's droppable because of Mainu, or rather, Mainu's in the team because of how poor Calvin Phillips has been, or is not playing, and that's a position of need. But with the amount of depth we have in the forward lines,
that's the problem.
Especially when you're playing, like you've only got 3 spots. One of them's taken by Harry Kane. You got 2 spots for what, 8, 9, 10 players potentially to play. It's just silly. Like I do.
Going back to your point about Bellingham, I do worry, and I was exactly the same opinion, that I thought we were relying too much on Bellingham. It was all give the ball to Jude, give the ball to Jude, give the ball to Jude for a lot of the Brazil game. And I thought, I don't really understand this, because we've got a lot of really top quality players out on that pitch, and I don't really understand why. And is it because of hype? Is it because he is currently potentially the best player on the planet? Potentially, he's been touted as that. I agree. I agree.
Players gravitate to him and trust him with the ball.
No, and I agree. But my concern is that there then gets too much pressure on him, because the other players then don't play their natural game, because they're trying to get the ball to him all the time rather than expressing themselves. And I think 2 players kind of broke that mold a little bit. Gordon, who was trying his socks off to impress, maybe a little bit too much at times. But the other one, Jared Bowen, I thought Jared Bowen cemented himself in that side. I thought he was he was brilliant against Belgium. I thought he was absolutely brilliant.
He was a name I actually had a question mark on, not because of his performance, but because I was going to ask you guys if you think he's going now.
I think he is.
Because is he behind Saka, basically? It's just him.
He's the backup for that, isn't
he? Yeah.
So
just back on the Jude situation, I think the moment you do have Saka and you do have Kane playing,
that changes.
That releases because Saka will see a lot of the ball, and he'll take a lot of the fouls that Jude will take. And Kane just is Kane. He'll demand the ball, and he'll get given the ball. He'll come and
I think you're right.
I think you'll find Jude going on beyond Kane, like he does for Real Madrid. He'll almost become that fill-in striker when Kane drops short. So I think what Jude showed on the last 2 games is that you can rely on him to take the ball. I didn't see him lose the ball a lot. There was a couple of times he did, but he does take risks with it.
Yeah.
Which inevitably means you will lose the ball. He's not just a backwards passer or a sideways passer. My only thing that frustrates me a little bit is how, and again, from my, like Josh mentioned earlier with his United bias, my Arsenal bias is that it's frustrating. I know why Rice is playing as the deep line centre mid. It's because he can't trust that set of those defenders. He needs somebody that can support those defenders. And what Rice has done so well this season is he's been kind of given a bit more freedom to move up. And I think if you played Kobe Mainoo, Rice and Bellingham, between the 3 of them, they could easily rotate that, where where Rice really was the anchor and wasn't really given any freedom at all. But the other two are more than capable of playing that holding role, or at least rotating that holding role amongst them. And again, I hope when you're back to stronger defenders, if Shaw is able to make it, if Trent, I don't even know if Southgate even considers Trent to be their right back. It's more likely to be Walker, and Trent becomes a sub for one of those three in midfield.
Well, he's becoming a bit more versatile, isn't he? He's becoming a bit more of a midfielder.
Yeah,
I think
but I don't think he gets in that midfield over those three.
Again, he's another one that's not played, is he? He's just been permanently injured.
Been injury prone. But I don't. If a fit Trent doesn't, and I know it was going to upset some of the Liverpool fans, and the sun shines out of his arse, but I don't think he gets in front of maybe Kobe Mainoo just for his experience and his ball delivery. But I think he doesn't get in there in front of Jude or Rice, does he?
Well, no, he doesn't get in front of Jude or Rice. I mean, it's more like he won't. He might get ahead of Mainoo, but that's closer than I think it is, because he hasn't got loads of experience with England in that.
No,
role.
But he has a winning mentality experience that if you can get him on that pitch, you get him on that pitch.
Yeah, I mean, it's obvious. Even if he's going to be one of these players, a bit like Luke Shaw, I think, that even if he's not quite fit but could be for second or third group game, he's going. It's just not. He's on the plane.
Yeah.
I just think. One thing I will say, by the way, I was talking about how we looked a lot like Man City in terms of just shuffling the ball around slowly. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It was quite encouraging. I know Belgium aren't the same team, and they didn't have the same players, but it was quite encouraging to be against another top 5 European team going into a Euros and dominating the ball.
Oh my God,
completely in that. And the same to extent with Brazil, we did it quite well then. It's whereas we usually only historically have done that against the lesser teams as such.
Mm-hmm.
Where
I think that's
the biggest
now,
weakness.
isn't it?
Yeah, I think that's the biggest weakness England have had, though, is when they're playing against those teams who deep block, ponderously passing the ball about, and then it just doesn't look quite right. I think there's a great thing about England's team now is that they can not only do that, and I think they could be comfortably doing that against the best teams in the world in all games, but also you can almost guarantee that if they do get into a transition situation, people like Jude Bellingham, who has that space then to run in behind Kane, who drops, and Saka and whoever else you've got, they're probably going to be killer in transition as well.
Massively.
Pace and strength in transition.
So I think they've got all the bases covered. Basically, it's just a case of.
Well, if you look at the 2 goals that they gave away to Belgium, I mean, there were 2 basic mistakes. One was a mistake from Pickford, and the other one was a mistake from Dunk. So. In a competitive game in a tournament situation, I don't think those mistakes happen.
No,
probably not, because those. I don't think Dunk plays. Pickford is Pickford, and he takes those risks, and occasionally those risks won't pay off.
Yeah.
But 99% of the time, you can't question anything he's done with England, and his distribution with the ball is insane.
Well,
I think
that's the first mistake I remember him having. For a long time.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what I mean. 99% of the time, you can trust that left foot of his is an absolute wand, and he can find that drilled in pass to the centre mid, or he can hit one right over the top on a sixpence. My biggest problem, and talking about players that have played themselves into the team, a player that I think's potentially played himself out of the team is Lewis Dunk.
Yeah, maybe.
I wasn't overly filled with confidence about him anyway. I think it's probably a level above where he is, and I mean by absolute no disrespect. But that mistake last night, it's almost like he expected Lukaku. He knows Lukaku well enough, and he's smart enough to know that Lukaku is a big, strong boy, and I think he presumed that he was going to get a bit of a push or a bit of of contact from him, and I think it was a naive way of clearing the ball, and that ball goes in. If you're that worried about it and conscious of Lukaku, you smash it into Rose.
Yeah, totally.
And he slid for no reason, again because I think he assumed that the contact was coming. And what a ball by Lukaku as well, though. To be fair, that's what you love to see, isn't it? And He's still a Chelsea player, and I think there's reports that he's going back to Chelsea in the summer. So who knows? That's for another day and a transfer window chat, I'm sure. But I just don't. But then who else do you have if Stones is quite unreliable on the injury front as well, isn't he? I think he.
Well, I think that was a cautionary removal from the pitch.
But he has picked up lengthy injuries.
Yeah,
Josh, you probably know better than me because of the fantasy side of things. But I'm sure he's had significant amount of time, not necessarily this season, but previously time out.
He actually has. It had this season as well. The start
innocuous injuries as well, or at least they look innocuous from the outset. Yeah. And then who do you have behind him? You've got Mark Gay, who was unavailable for injury. Konza and Gomez, I thought, like you said, did really well, Ben.
Yeah, I thought they did well.
Tomori doesn't even get considered now, and I think he's having a really good season from by all accounts in Italy.
Mm-hmm.
Is it out of sight, out of mind, and he's only interested in going to watch Henderson play in Amsterdam? So it's hard, isn't it? I
think ultimately, if they're all fit, we know it's Maguire and Stones. That's his go-to. We know that.
I wouldn't be unhappy with that if I'm really honest.
No.
I don't think the strength behind him is good enough, though, as there is if there is an injury like this or something happens.
Maguire's the weak link, as we all know, but
the fridge.
He has his. Yeah, I mean, he does have his pluses in terms of set pieces, which was what I was going to come on to in a second. But but you could do with someone who's maybe a little bit more.
Well, Mings was always in that. He was always competition, but he obviously has been injured all season.
Yeah.
So he's one that's out. Tarkovsky'd come in a couple of times, but he's not anywhere near it. Who else have we had in that? Who else have we had recently who's played?
Well, only the players that were even in the team are going to be considered this squad, aren't they? Because unless
Mark Gay will be,
I know.
Mark
Gay is the only one.
Desai, is that his name? Desai, I want to say Disassi.
He's not English though, is he?
Who am I thinking of?
Disassi's the one that scored that horrendous own goal for Chelsea.
You might be thinking of Chelsea Levi Colwill. You might be thinking of Levi Colwill.
No, maybe
Levi Colwill, yeah.
Colwill, Branthwaite.
Branthwaite didn't get a minute as well. You'd think
No, I know.
You'd take him to give him a chance with that much injuries and that much problems. These are the games you give him a chance, surely.
But don't forget, it's good to just be in the setup. It's good to be in the setup and see how they.
He's a young lad as well. He'll be there after Gareth Southgate's gone.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
At this point, he'd be better off playing under 21 football than being there just to make up numbers in training. Surely, put him into the training, but let him play with the 21s. What benefit has he got? Sat on the bench in a cold, wet Wembley, going, great, we've lost to Brazil and drawn to Belgium, and I've not kicked the ball. I got to warm up on Wembley half time. Like, train with the first team and play with the 21s.
Yeah, again,
my opinion.
I think it's telling of what Gareth wants in terms of who he wants to look at, because I think he's.
Yeah.
I think in realistic terms here, let's be real. Stones and Maguire are your number ones.
Yeah.
How many other centre backs or along the back line you taking? Walker's not injured. He's going obviously, and he'll probably play. Luke Shaw's the same, but you've got Luke Shaw and Ben Chilwell who take the left, and that's it. That's just done.
Yeah.
Reece James probably won't be fit and won't be going. You can take Trent as the defender on the right back if you want. Does he really want Trippier if he's people like that?
I think you realise on Tripp said the name.
Yeah. Who else are you taking? So basically, he's got Gomez, Konsa, Branthwaite. Who else am I thinking of? Gahey, Dunk, Tomori, people like that. Like, who's he taking? And you could probably only take two of those.
Probably only the form ones, or
so the two again most telling for me is he's probably taking Konsa.
Yeah,
Gomez.
I think it's probably the best shout.
Just
back to the Branthwaite situation. You say that he wants to have a look at him. Branthwaite is a player that's been through every level of England youth football. What more is Southgate and the team, as in the coaching team, learning from watching him train with the first team and not playing him for a minute than what they're going to learn from letting him.
It's all about that, and I think it's really interesting. I mean, just going to go briefly on something that we talked about, Josh, about listening to the thing with Les Ferdinand. I can't remember what it's called.
Stick to football.
Listening to what Les Ferdinand was talking about how players are in certain situations and how they react with people. We don't fully know how the characters fit into the group, and we know very well that the way Gareth has set up his England squad and setup is it's as much about how the players interact with each other as they do play the game. There's a massive part about that group and being part of the group, and we don't know how these players that he brings in integrate in that situation. So now is a chance to bring them in and see if they're the sort of character that will gel with the rest of the team, etc., etc. And I think that's part of it, and I think it's a big part of it, certainly for the way that Gareth has been running it.
Do we agree that Southgate is done after this, regardless whether he wins it or whatever happens?
I would think so, unless he wins it.
What benefit to him is it bringing in Branthwaite to see all of this, to get an idea of what's going on, just to hand the reins over to somebody that's going to pick their own team and not listen to what he's told him anyway?
Again, I think that's part of it, gets him integrated in the group for the future, because a lot of those players are still young people. They're going to be in a lot of England teams together. He needs to
get exactly what you mean. I get exactly what you mean. For me,
Gareth is about that, isn't it?
It feels like a wasted. And I know that we were pretty short, as proven. You had Maguire and Stones that I think there's a chance they may have not been 100%, and that's why they picked up their knocks or whatever happened. There's a chance we probably were light, and if we were in an emergency situation, he would have probably played.
Think about it this way, though, when we go to the Euros, we got a 23, I think it is, not 26. I mentioned last week, man squad.
Yeah.
How many of those 23 are going to be playing a minute?
Oh Christ, 16
or 15, 16 of them will play.
Okay, so there's a few of them that definitely won't play a minute, and they'll go there probably knowing they're not going to play a minute.
But two of them are goalkeepers, aren't they?
Yeah, but do you just not take them?
No, absolutely not. No, I get
like Cole Palmer. He didn't play a minute. I know he was injured for the first one, but he didn't play a minute. But if Cole Palmer's not on the plane, if he has another phenomenal rest of the season, people will be moaning. But he probably won't get a minute.
Yeah.
He's still going to be there. That's all.
At that point, and he's not having a look at him, is he?
Yeah.
He's
well, he's in training
for
all
a
the
reason.
Time, so I get what you're saying. I would love to have seen Branthwaite picked minutes. Once John Stones was injured, I was like, okay,
give him a shout.
Here's a chance. Bring Branthwaite on or someone like that. That's what I was hoping. And I agree, but I just, at the same time, I think to myself,
but you might see him in the next two. We've got 2 games left to go. You might see him. He's called up this time.
I hope we do.
He's a young player, don't forget.
Before the tournament.
We've got 2 more before the tournament.
Yeah, there is 2 more.
Yeah, they're just before, though, aren't they? They're like end of season, but before the tournament. Is that correct?
Yeah, but they're not the final squad. It's not that he's picked the squad.
I know.
He's got
May 21st. I think he's due to pick the team.
Okay, so then they go in May 20. After that, obviously, a couple of them will have Champions League, I guess. But I guess from there, basically, the end of May, you just
he would have picked the team by then. Actually,
you have the squad until.
They don't play until June.
3rd of June is Bosnia and Herzegovina.
Oh wow,
Gavina.
Okay, so that's your friendly then.
Yeah, and then Iceland as well. Both at home. I'm not sure they're both at Wembley, but we will know the squads by that point. The squad.
So that's the point.
Probably pronounce his provisional squad, and then that will be trimmed to 23.
Yeah.
So he has his provisional squad. He takes them along, plays some friendlies, then trims it.
Yeah.
Basically, and that'll be it. So there is one more chance, especially for people who are may or may not be fit.
Yeah,
which is quite a few people.
Yeah, and there's quite a few. There's quite a few who weren't there.
Well,
and it will come around.
I know I keep banging on about Luke Shaw, but he's for me, I think, no disrespect, but I think Trent can be not replaced. But if he wasn't going to make it, I know he will be because he's be back in a few weeks, I think. But if he wasn't injured, for example, if he was injured, I don't think it's a disaster. I'm not saying it's disaster if Luke Shaw is. I just think it's more of a problem. You know, he's an example. I think is someone. I don't know. I just really rate Luke Shaw. Maybe it's just me, but every single time I watch him, he makes.
No, I agree with you, mate. I agree with you.
Everything about an attacking, particularly an attacking sense, more potent.
Just, he's reliable, isn't he?
Yeah.
But he also has the ability to fill in the centre as well. Those sorts of players, him and Walker are very similar to that. They can play in the back. They can play in a back three as well as being wider.
Yeah.
Because they've got that pace as well.
Ben Chilwell was a winger at the start of the season for Chelsea.
Yeah.
Pretty much was last night as well, wasn't he?
He was really good at tracking back. I was really impressed with his tracking back. He was really quick.
Yeah.
But pretty dire against Brazil, to be fair. Maybe whether that was because of who he was up against. He was a bit rusty. Yeah. His final ball I thought was poor. You know, he's usually a really good crosser of the ball, and every cross he put in was garbage. But you know, bit of rust. He's still a quality player. So
anyway, you guys aren't. Let's just quickly then pick an 11. Who's your 11 to start? Assuming everyone's fit and healthy. I think we're going to be pretty similar here. I think we're all going to be pretty close. I think we know.
We'll try and agree on one together, shall we? If we were Southgate and his. Go
on.
So
start at the back.
Is
start
obvious.
at the back. Pickford. Yep.
Oh, Pickford. Yeah.
Yep.
I think we just
Stones and Maguire.
Yep.
Yeah.
Shaw. And
if fit,
Walker.
Shaw.
Yeah, this is if everyone's fit.
Yeah. So Walker and Shaw. Yeah.
So 4 of those 3. Then midfield of Rice.
Yep.
Jude as the 10. The other is the question mark. I think if I was picking it to play tomorrow, I think I would go. No, God no. I think I would go.
If you're playing Bellingham in the 10, I was going to say if you're playing Jude,
Trent Alexander-Arnold, I think I would play. Yeah,
if you're playing Jude as the 10, which I assume you have to because that's where he's playing for Madrid and blah blah blah.
Rice is the anchor.
And then so Rice is the 6 and Jude is a 10 or an 8 basically.
Yeah.
Are you having a number 8, another number 8, so 2 8s, or are you having a 10, or are you having how attacking do you want to be?
I think I'd have another 8.
Okay, in which case I wouldn't have Trent there.
Who would you go with?
I would pick Mainu, but I'm saying that it's a little bit recency bias in there. I appreciate that. But I think he's more of a natural fit for that 8
what
that
are your
you want,
thoughts,
basically.
Ben? You can be.
I also think he can fill in for Rice as a 6 because he does that for Man United when Casemiro goes forward.
Yeah.
So
he does. It's
would
an
you make a
interesting
choice
one,
on that, Ben?
Well, I think I agree with Mainu actually, and the reason is I thought he linked up with Bellingham really, really well. They seem to have quite a natural understanding of each other's sort of style of football, and Foden as well. I link in with that as well because that they all have a very similar way of playing those kind of quick through balls to the feet. And they're all very skillful on the ball, so they have the ability to shift the ball quickly and move it quickly. And I think that could be quite devastating. Foden for me is a bit of a tricky one because I don't know what his best position is. And I think ironically, I think Foden and Saka are very, very similar in their best positions. So it could be quite a tricky one that if you put Foden out on the left. I don't think that's his best position, and I think he struggles out there. I think he's got to be either central or on the right, and I don't know.
He's not getting on the right, is he?
No, he's not. And that's the thing.
I think the midfield thing for me is this. I would, in an ideal scenario, if I was comfortable with the idea that Rice, considering what he's done this season, he's more of an 8 than he is a 6. He can play the 6 perfectly because he's just that good. But he's
better going forward.
They're basically all 8s. Bellingham, Mainu, they're all, and it's like in an ideal world, I would have someone like Bellingham drop slightly, play more of an 8, have your Rice as your 6, and then allow someone to fit someone in like Maddison, who is a purely a 10, like that's his position.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I'm comfortable with that in a tournament against some of the best opposition.
Okay.
I don't
Should
know.
we set
just because
let's
of
try
the
and
frailties
settle on
of
our
it.
3 in the middle? Do we reckon Rice, Manu, and Jude then?
I think that's my 3. That's who I would pick today based on what.
Yeah, I think I probably agree. I'm only basing it on the last 2 games, to be honest.
And do we think?
But
go on. Sorry.
But I think you're right. I think they're all very similar players.
Yeah.
Do you reckon he plays Gallagher though? Just hypothetically.
Gallagher's going to become his new Mason Mount, isn't he?
Well, Mount might be fit in time as well. I don't think he'll play
he's not going. He can't go. Not off the back of they're not playing this season.
An entire season out, yeah.
I
would front pick 3. Do they pick themselves?
Yeah.
I think they do,
I think
but
so.
I think they do, but I do worry about. Yeah, I just worry about him.
No, I agree. Again, he's probably the argument for the 10. You know, that 10.
I think you're probably right.
I genuinely believe if you play Jude in an advanced 10 with Foden out on the left, those two can be so interchangeable. Jude has absolutely.
He does go out left, doesn't he?
He's got every ability to find himself in those positions and be.
Is Saka ever playing on the left? I don't know if I've ever seen him drift out left.
No, he generally plays on the right because of cutting in on the left. It does it does blow my mind that there are times that because he does. The thing is, he is super predictable.
Yeah.
As most lefties are, so quickly, but he's just so good at it. You can tell any of them they're predictable, but if you can't stop it, you can't stop him doing it.
And he scores from some bonkers angles as well.
Yeah,
like the precision is nuts.
His first step to open up his body for any cross.
He almost unbelievable. Have you seen how he keeps the ball close to him as well? He basically skips and he keeps the ball close to his back foot, and his front foot kind of is kind of like a guide. He almost like skips with the ball, and that opens. He can kind of jinx one way or the other. He can drop a shoulder and think they're going the other way, and then continue to go to the right of the defender. I've seen a few because my lad's mad keen on his football now. He's been looking at like these little training videos and stuff, and there's one particular guy that shows like he does a fantastic impression of what Saka does and kind of slow motion walks you through it. Mm-hmm. And it's so once it's explained the way that this guy explained it, it's so obvious, but it's so effective because it allows him to be able to go either way within a blink of an eye.
Right.
And he just stands a player up. He's like, here is the ball. Come and get the ball. Either way, I'm skipping past you.
Yeah.
And it's just it's super predictable but super effective, which is good.
Okay.
So
he's on the right anyway.
I would say Foden on the left. Yeah. You have to. It's almost like a Paul Scholes situation. You have to find a way to fit in Foden in.
Yeah,
Foden has to play.
I agree. I just don't.
The only thing, just as devil's advocate to that, is that they all play this formation basically at club level, which is great. But it is much more of a system game now than it was when Scholes was playing out on the left. Like it is, and Foden does play on the left for Man City, so I have no concern about that at all. Not all the time, but he does do it.
He does play across the front three. He plays. He does. He does.
I don't have a concern about that.
KDB coming back, isn't he?
Yeah, and he plays. He's played more out on the left as well. While they were having like Doku in and out of the team, he has played there. So, like, I don't have a concern about that. I just think you have to have him in because he's so good. But as you were saying, Ben, it's not his best position, so I'm not sure you get. Then my argument then is if you feel like you've got a Foden at 70% on the left, is there someone else you'd prefer to have?
The only person potentially I think would be Rashi would be there,
and his form has to lift dramatically.
Yeah. It's been okay recently, but I agree. Yeah, he's probably the next person in line if Grealish isn't fit.
Or Grealish,
Grealish for me would be, if fit, would be the one, but I think Rashford probably is.
Rashford's a bit team dependent for my thoughts because I think he really only works when he's got space behind.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas Foden's quite intricate on the ball.
Yeah, that's fair.
Touches around, but a lot of block.
not a bad
Rashford
quandary to have, I would suggest, gents.
No, agree. Which is also why I think he's on the plane, regardless of what he does.
I think it's just getting that system to work. And I think you're probably right, actually. I think you find it'll be opponent dependent as to who he plays in those across those front 3, 4, 5 positions and where he plays them. It'll be interesting to see. Yeah. But amazing to have that depth. I think Maddison goes, to be honest.
Yeah, he will go, I think. But I would say any England fan could look at that team, and apart from that the third place in midfield and maybe on the left are the two only slightly contentious positions.
Yeah.
I think most people are. You can argue maybe Chilwell over Luke Shaw because he's not fit, or we need a more attacking right back, or we want to.
But Chilwell's been hampered with injury as well. There's nothing to say that he's going to make it in time. He might pick something else up. So,
but it's like Saka, Kane, Rice, Bellingham, Maguire, Stones, Walker, Pickford. They're like nailed, aren't they?
Yeah, the core. Your core is.
And then you've got Luke Shaw, who's probably 80% nailed, and Phil Foden is probably 70% nailed.
I think Foden, Walker as well. Walker is, isn't he?
Yeah, Walker's core.
Yeah. I think Foden's get there, and I think he's in the team, to be honest. Whether it's his best position or whether we get the most out of him, I guess we'll see that. But I don't think you could keep him out of the team anymore. Not the way he's been playing, certainly for City this season. He's been one of the best players in the Prem, so you'd be mad to leave him out. Like you say, if you got 70% on the left, then fair shout.
Yeah, I mean, anyway, so that's I guess we've got 11, but it's funny about all the people behind who could or could not be in. It's just insane, isn't it?
That's madness. But like we've said before, they're brilliant going forward. You know, all these young players. I mean, Maine's come straight out of the under 19, under 21s.
21s, yeah.
He's come straight out of that. So is Palmer. So is Gordon. You know, there's a lot of young players who are coming through, and I think they've got it right. I think they've got the setup, the whole England setup from youth right the way through. I think they've got it right, and I think we've got abundance of players coming through who are all of the same mindset, all playing similar style of football. And so I think we're in a really good place moving forward, regardless of what happens now at this tournament. I'd love to see us win it. Of course I would. I'd like to see Gareth win it. I think he deserves to. But I'm really positive about the England after that as well, because we've got such good talent coming through. I think we
haven't ever won so many youth tournaments. If you look at the under 21s winning and the 19s winning it, it's all been like, and that just only
stands the senior team in good stead moving forwards, because you've got that experience of that winning mentality, and them all playing with each other. You know, it's not just a bunch of random people they put together and go, well, you're the best team, you're the best players in your clubs, go out and win a game. It's not that. It's about building a team and building a squad of players who all get used to playing with each other, and the mentality behind it, massively important. So I think we're in a really good place. Best place I think I've seen an England team in ever, really, the way that it's set up. And I think you have to credit Gareth Southgate for that, genuinely, because we were in a pickle when he took over. So
absolutely. I saw the under 21s won 7-0 last night as well.
It's mad,
Alex Scott got full 90 minutes from him, and by all accounts, Scott, with not even scoring a goal, I can't see the assist, but he picked up the man of the match, which is brilliant to see for Bournemouth as well. He's a player that a lot of Bournemouth fans are super excited about as well, which is great. But looking at some of the names they've got in that, they've got Harvey Elliott in the under 21s. Madueke for Chelsea, he got 2. Jeffrey Konsa, is he the Liverpool centre back, isn't he? Is it Jeffrey Konsa?
Konsa's in Villa. Konsa's plays for Villa.
Quansah.
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 Yeah.
I'm sure he's Liverpool, isn't he?
He is.
Yeah, so and then you've got
some about that.
Absolutely. James Trafford in goal as well. You've got a real strong strong potential, which is great to see.
Yeah.
One last thing I'll just say on England before we wrap up quickly is that this is the first time I'm going into a major tournament with England whilst being a member of Man v Fat. And I tell you what, it's going to because most of the time I don't really chat football with most people. I'm so excited to go into a tournament when everyone is doing the same thing, rooting for the same thing.
Yeah.
And there's a chance we could all meet up and have a pint and watch the games and stuff like this. I am genuinely thrilled. I cannot wait to go into a tournament with a genuine big group of football people. I just
do you know what's mental? I actually genuinely have Googled whilst we've been talking to see if there is a wall chart out yet with all the fixtures to fill in.
Of course there is, yeah.
I can't wait. It's not. I don't think it's been published. You got bear in mind you got Poland and Georgia made it through last night, so the tables have only just been kind of completed. So I'm sure it's in the making. But me and Ethan, I'll be getting that slap bang in the middle of the kitchen somewhere, and we'll be filling that out each morning. I remember doing that as a kid and doing it at work in offices and things like that.
Still got mine from '86.
Have you really?
Yeah.
Sweepstake as well. Yeah. Oh God, I'm proper excited now. I want to enjoy the end of this. Brings us quite nicely onto the last little bit. I want to enjoy the rest of this season, whatever it may entail for Arsenal, regardless. I think at the same point last season, I was thinking the same. Whatever happens from here on out, I'm super proud to be going into this part of the season top of the table. Whether it would be a goal difference or not, don't bother me. If it was finishing tomorrow, you've won it, haven't you? So
it's in your own hands. That's the main thing, isn't it?
Exactly
that's
that.
The key. Yeah, that's
exactly
the key.
that. So I'm super excited to see how it finishes, and who knows? Who knows? I certainly wouldn't mind attending a trophy parade in Islington in mid-May or whenever it finishes. That would be quite nice.
Yeah. I did find it quite funny, just as a segue, the number of people who in that game have dropped out from their internationals.
That was something that came up on Stick to Football as well, didn't it? Gary never called that, didn't he?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, he just
he said Saka, Foden, or somebody else will pull out. Walker, I think he said, and granted, Walker did injure himself, but Saka didn't. Well, we think.
Yeah.
Oh, it definitely looked like he did. To be fair, you could see.
Yeah, well, he was captain when he was probably going to want to stay on the pitch as long as he could. So. He looked generally
I was impressed though, as you said, Jack. I was impressed by Rice playing 180 minutes and people like that. So and John Stones would have, I'm sure, if he'd stayed fit.
And Rice in a position that he hasn't been playing all season. To be honest, he's been a lot more progressive than that. So he's proving. I think he played some youth games at centre back, and I know has played for West Ham a couple of times when they've been desperate at centre back. He's the type of player that you could imagine just fits into that seamlessly and can do that. But yeah, I think his time with Arsenal so far has proven that he's actually better, unbelievably, at the progressive side of things rather than the anchor. But I don't think he'll get released of those shackles for England, unfortunately. I think Stones and Maguire need him in front of him.
Yeah. Anyway, mate, score prediction for the weekend for that game. Go
on. Put me on the spot.
1-1.
I'll take a draw right now.
I'm telling you, mate.
I'll take a draw
it'll be
right
cagey
now.
as fuck.
My heart says.
I'll put that in the title of the pod, by the way.
My heart says it'll be 3.
No chance.
3-2 to Arsenal.
No chance.
My heart says it. My head says it's going to be tight. Probably a 2-1 win to City.
Ooh.
And I think Arsenal will score first, maybe a penalty.
It's got 1-1 written all over it.
Saka penalty, and Haaland will pop up 70th minute and score a winner, and that'll be all
the advantage
she wrote.
I guess you've got. I wouldn't say it's the advantage, but like when you go to the Etihad, it's not like going to bloody Anfield or.
It's not, but they're still formidable there, aren't they?
Yeah, don't get me wrong. Of course they are, but they're formidable everywhere.
Yeah,
I just think that if you're going away to a stadium, I'm not saying it's terrible, and Scott will have us. Scott will have me for this, but I just think when you're going away, you can probably think of a few more grounds in the Premier League you would rather not visit.
Yeah, exactly. One other thing, actually, really quickly on the whole fixture running, I saw that with how the games have been rearranged, and you'll know this, especially because of the fantasy football, I think Arsenal play 4 times in the space of something like 14 days before the North London derby. Tottenham do not play once in that time before the North London derby.
They'll be rusty then, won't they?
Well, it depends. Yeah, you could go form counts in it, didn't it? It could go one way or the other with form as well. You could be off the back of a loss and your bad form continues, or you'd want to continue playing because of the good form. It could go either way, but it just seems a little harsh. But that's fucking the deal you've been dealt with. You've got to deal with it.
That's the way the cookie crumbles, mate. You want to be in the competitions, you get the games.
Do you know what, Ben? You can only piss with the dick you've got.
Exactly, mate. Never a truer word said.
There's your title, Ben.
I'm just looking. So you got Brighton on the 6th of April. You got Villa 14th, and then a double game week. So you got 20th. You've got Wolves, and then the 23rd you got Chelsea, and then the 28th. Yeah, you got Spurs.
Yeah, and if you look at Spurs' fixtures,
it's a tough run-in. Don't get me wrong, but Spurs aren't like the people you need to worry about the most. I would think it's Man City.
No,
this
but
weekend,
they'll be the most.
They'll be up for it, won't they?
Yeah, they'll be up for it, especially if there's a chance they can potentially block anything. But so their last game before our game is on the 13th of April, and then play us on the 28th of April, and that's all because of the FA Cup. City playing.
Yeah.
Who are City playing? I can't think of who they're playing in the FA Cup semi. Whoever it is.
Chelsea.
It's not Chelsea.
It is Chelsea. Yeah. So, like you say, it's the way the cookie crumbles. So you got to deal with it, haven't you? But we shall see. Like I say, I'm thoroughly excited to sit back and try and enjoy whichever way it goes. And yeah, it is what it is. I don't think anybody expected us to win this league at the beginning of the season anyway. I'm glad that we're challenging, and fuck Chelsea, fuck City and all their rule breaking and cheating. That's basically what I'll say. Shouldn't even be in the league.
They're going to get relegated this season, mate.
Yeah.
We'll end that there, so that one.
82-point deduction.
Nobody wants a retrospective win of the league, though, do you? I wouldn't want them to go back now next season from last season and go, actually, here you go, here you've won the league. I'd be like, fuck that. I want to win it.
Can you imagine that? Jose Mourinho and Oli Solskjaer would have won a bloody trophy.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Anyway,
we shouldn't joke. It might happen.
Well, maybe. I don't think so, but yeah.
No.
I think it's more like they'll just get
they'll get a massive
fine and deducted a certain number of points for a few seasons
next season. Yeah.
Anyway, well, best of luck to Arsenal on that one. I'll be watching.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Keen, intense. I just enjoy it really. Now that both the teams that I'm keen on aren't really, maybe Man United fight for Champions League, but Bournemouth are kind of in the mid-table, so
yeah,
it's not really.
As the current Mrs. H always reminds me, I can't affect the outcome of the game.
Yes.
So get the fuck over it. Basically, deal with it. It affects my weekend and my day too much now. I get to the point where it shouldn't and it doesn't. I really try and manage that, and it is what it is. You got to take the rough with the smooth. It's been good so far. It'll be good again.
Yeah. Just the last bit then, lads. Should we move on to some quick fantasy before we wrap up?
Oh, go on then. Quick. It's been a couple of weeks, isn't it?
Well, yeah, I did mention it briefly last week, I think, but I can't remember now. But I will just say this up front. So my wild card is now active. I have used
you've gone early.
I'm going to use a week earlier than I'd planned. So I know I said last time I wanted to do it 31 rather than 30.
Yeah.
I changed my mind once the fixtures were confirmed for game week 34, so the double in which Arsenal play twice. So I basically realised that my team isn't going to be really any different. Maybe 1-2 players. That's it. Between this week and next, and I figured might as well jump on a couple of players I really want to have, and take some price rises as well because they'll probably go up.
They will.
So so I'll run through it just really quick for my actual team that I'm looking at the moment. So For goalkeepers, I've got Petrovic from Chelsea and Onana for Man United. Both, the main reason for me is because my strategy is to free hit in 34. So
Right.
when a lot of teams have doubles like Solanke and like Arsenal and people like that, Solanke Bournemouth. So I don't need them in the team now because I'll just be able to free hit them in that 1 week that I really want them.
Fair. Yeah.
And I will be, and I've set the team up so for the double in 37. So I don't have to make lots of transfers between now and then for the main team. So Anana and Petrovic are both in there because of they both double in 37, which is useful for my bench boost that week because I'll have both two goalkeepers doubling. I would have considered Brighton keeper, but I'm not sure either of the Brighton keepers are nailed. Those are pretty easy picks for me, really, on those ones. My back four is Gusto from Chelsea, Udogie from Spurs, Lascelles from Newcastle, because Botman's out for the rest of the season. So he's really cheap, nailed, and they've got some good fixtures, and they double in 37. Bradley from Liverpool is a bit of a punt while Trent's still injured, and Aït-Nouri as a kind of like a backup.
Yeah, he's playing well. Yeah,
a couple of weeks that I need him. So Gusto's nailed. James is not a worry until the end of April at the earliest anyway, so he's worth it now. Udogie / Porro, depending on which one you want. Porro's too expensive, I think, considering Udogie's quite a bit cheaper than him. As I said about Lascelles already, I would have considered Dalot, but I can get him later on when Trent's back. And
don't fancy Chilwell in there? You got Palmer instead.
Well, I've got Petrovic in goal already.
Yeah, okay. So you got a Chelsea keeper.
I wanted Palmer. So yeah.
Yeah, fair.
Ake's a consideration, but I don't think Dalot, as I said, Gabriel as again. But again, because I'm free hitting in 34, I'll just get him in that week anyway. So that's the back line. Then in the middle, Salah. He's the guy I really wanted in this week. Son, Cole Palmer, Saka, Garnacho.
Garnacho
because he's cheap and it allows me to get Salah and Haaland in. And again, he doubles in 37. He's basically nailed for Man United. So that's an easy one.
Fair.
You could go for someone a little bit more expensive than that, like Anthony Gordon, if you've got the money instead, or Maddison or Richarlison, I guess. But you'd have to sacrifice elsewhere if you wanted either of them, basically.
Yeah.
I think for money, most people. And then the front three of Isak, Haaland, and Darwin Núñez. So Haaland's obvious. Darwin's immediate fixtures are good enough, but he'll probably come out in 35, and I'll move him to like Højlund instead again for 37. Isak is the one I'm most excited about. Actually, you mentioned.
So I just swapped him out for Solanke literally yesterday.
Why
Isak couldn't have both?
If you don't have chips, that's not a bad option because Solanke does double in 34, so you're going to want him anyway, basically.
Yeah.
So that's not a bad shout, actually.
And Everton at home coming up as well.
Yeah, because I have my free hit, and I won't play him in 34, basically. He doubles in 37, Isak. Wilson's not fit, so he's nailed, basically. Short-term fixtures are really good. They're not a bad team, let's be honest. I know they've had a ball season, but they're pretty good. So he's the best threat from that team. I would rather have Isak than Gordon, if that makes sense. So yeah, he's in, and Darwin is just Darwin. I guess he'll have like 20 shots and score once, but
he's getting better.
Watkins, Watkins definitely is great, by the way. People to consider that Watkins, he's great. Don't get me wrong, but his fixtures are getting poor, and I just have a preference for the other three. So he's always an option, so he's always good. So if he's in your team, don't worry about it. I mean, he is the top scoring fantasy player at the moment, Ollie Watkins. So overall, Højlund is the other one to consider, but I prefer Darwin for now. I would have considered Nicholas Jackson from Chelsea and swap someone else out, but he's on 9 yellow cards, so only one more, and he's on suspended.
Right,
okay. And then he is cheap though, to be fair. And then you've got like Palmer and Gusto, a better value basically for Chelsea. Solanke, as I said, I would have had him, but I'm already free hitting in 34, so I can get him then when he doubles. And then others to consider, like Muniz from Fulham if you really need someone cheap.
Yeah.
I mean, I was considering maybe having Maddison and Muniz instead of Isak and Garnacho.
Mm-hmm.
I just prefer Isak and Garnacho. So, yeah,
fair.
That's it.
Fair.
My team. I think
Well
the takeaways
considered,
generally
Josh.
are is that 3 Chelsea. If you have a free hit left, I would use it in 34. And then that means you can have 3 Chelsea, at least 2 Tottenham, maybe 3. You can have 3 or 4 from Man United and Newcastle, and you can have a bit of fun for the other ones like Liverpool and people like that. So if you don't have a free hit, it's much of the same players, except you would replace a couple of Chelsea and Tottenham players with teams that will play in 34 or double in 34. So Arsenal is a great example of that. So instead of having Gusto, you'd have Gabriel, you know, at the back, or that's what I was going to say. I think you want to keep Palmer, but instead of having the goalkeeper Petrovic, you could have again, you could have Raya, I guess, someone like that. So or Jordan Pickford or something like that. The only thought.
Fair.
I'm sorry for the
enjoyed
ramble.
That.
Yeah.
No, I enjoyed that. Thank you for
good,
the update.
Yeah. Oh, the only other thing quickly, FBL Challenge. Have you guys seen about that?
Yes.
I have.
Yeah.
But I haven't given
that's
it
been
enough,
released, launched.
Basically,
it amounts to a free hit every week. So you can just change your team every week randomly, like completely from scratch. So it's a new team every week. Your points get reset every week, so it's just a 1-week challenge essentially every week for the FPL. FPL are doing some sort of prizes. I don't know what they are for winners, etc.
Right.
And each week there's a specific challenge that will help
That's
you.
right.
So this week, for example, is unlimited budget.
Yeah, but that
first
doesn't
week.
mean. Yeah, but that's like.
Yeah, I know that means nothing. It's a rubbish one.
Means
but like,
nothing.
Yeah, especially this week. But it's just more of a. That's the one this week, and there are a few differences. Like you can have up to 5 players in the same team.
Yeah.
You can change.
Double
the main
strikers
thing
next week's an interesting one.
Yeah. So game week 31, double points for forwards. Game week 32, because it's the Manchester Liverpool, Man United Liverpool game. There'll be all of them players will be on double points as well. So they're doing. I just don't know what the next ones are. The main thing to consider is it's a bit different in terms of deadlines. So
that's right. You can change the team.
You can change the players out until they start playing.
That's right. So it's a bit like the World Cup one. Have you ever done did you do the one in the World Cup, the European Cup? Have you ever done the fantasy one? Because you can change those players out. If they play and they don't score and the other players haven't played, you can swap them out before the game.
Yeah.
That's quite an interesting one.
That, but it does work in terms of the deadline is when that player kicks off.
Yeah.
So if you have like the Friday night game and you've got one player in, all the other players you can still change until the 3 o'clock on a Saturday or whenever they kick off.
Right.
Is it available in the app or is it only through the web?
Yeah, you can do it through the app, mate. Yeah, there's a little widget at the bottom that says challenge. You can log into it. Jordan set up a league, and then I asked the question, and I didn't see that he'd put a link to his auto join, and then I set up a league as well. So there are 2 leagues you can join.
Yeah. Nice. I mean, I'll give it a go. I'm not sure how much I'll be doing it.
Do you play draft as well, Josh? Do you play draft? Because I do.
Draft,
you don't do it. Okay.
No, I would like to though, because I play NFL fantasy and that's a drafting system.
Okay. Well, I do draft, and I've got a draft league if you want to give it a go sometime. Next season.
Anyway, for that one, I've got 5 Spurs players in the team. So.
What for first week?
Yeah. Udogie, Porro, Son, Maddison, and Richarlison.
Nice.
Challenge,
because they're playing Luton.
They're playing Luton at home, and then I've got Salah, Darwin, Virgil van Dijk, Watkins, Palmer, Petrovic. And then my bench is Haaland, Chilwell, Robertson, Kelleher. So it's like, anyway, yes. So that's that.
Cool, man. Well, there's just one other thing that I wanted to mention quickly, and that's off the back of last week's conversation with our good friend Jimmy, and he was talking about his Man versus Chat that he's set up with a few of the other guys from Man versus Chat. Well, they have done it. And the first date is in the diary. So anyone who is interested, it will be on Sunday, the 14th of April. And they're doing a walk from Bournemouth Pier to the Harvester Dirty Chine for 10 a.m. start. 10 a.m. arrival for 11. Christ, I messed this right up. 10 a.m. arrival for a 10:15 start. Anyone's welcome. Go along for a walk and a chat. Or if you don't want to do the walk, but you do want to go to the Harvester and have a drink, they'll get there for about 10:45. So bit of coffee and cake, or a bit of granola slice, as he says. I'm sure that anyone's welcome, and everyone who's attending will be pleased to see anyone who rocks up. So hats off for doing that. Jimmy and the rest of the lads, I think it's a brilliant incentive. So anyone who fancies going along, that is on Sunday the 14th of April. So be nice to see a few people down there. Yeah. Cool, man. Cool.
Lovely.
Top job. Well, that was a good one, lads. I've got delving into the England chat. It's a good one. It's a long one, probably, I think.
Yeah, another long one, hour and 50 minutes.
But that's okay. Everyone enjoys it. I think Dave was moaning last week. It's getting longer and longer. I said, yes, but you love it, Dave. You love it. And he does. He's a stalwart listener, bless him. So thanks, Dave. Thanks to everybody who listens, to be fair, listens to our ramblings.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah,
it's well appreciated.
Absolutely. Well, enjoy the rest of your week and have a lovely Easter. And I will catch up with you very soon.
Have a great birthday, mate. Not too many eggs. You, not too many beers.
No, to be fair, I'm not a boozer outside, but I might have especially if Arsenal win on Sunday, I might treat myself to a little beer. But other than that, I should be all good. But thank you very much.
Happy days.
All right.
Cheers, boys. Talk to you soon. Bye.